Hi, my name is Josh Matthews Morgan, and I'm the author of Deliver: How to Perform Your Best When It Counts the Most. I'm also the co-founder of Learn Your Brain. What one of my biggest passions is, in fact, what we do in our company, is we actually study what the peak performers do in their field and try to understand what it is that they do that's different from other people that makes them so successful. So today I'm going to share with you one of the most important tips that separate peak performers from other people in their field. Before I tell you about that though, I want to share with you a story of how I learned this lesson the hard way through a lot of struggle. See, when I was a freshman in high school, I went to my first wrestling meet ever, and as soon as I went into this big gymnasium with thousands of screaming high school students and all the excitement, I think I was hooked on wrestling as soon as I saw that. There were people making cattle calls out to their friends who were down there on the mat, grinding it out, mano a mano type of thing. It was real masculine. So I decided in that moment that I wanted to become a wrestler. And not only did I want to become a wrestler, I wanted to be a state champion wrestler so that I could prove to everyone in my high school that I was really a person to be reckoned with, someone who should be admired and respected across the school. So the next year I joined, and unfortunately it didn't really go as well as I wanted it to. In fact, I struggled an awful lot in my first year as a sophomore. I struggled so much that by the end of the year, my shoulder, I had to have surgery on it because it had taken such a beating. But I was undaunted. I said, I told myself I was going to be a state champion, so I'm going to do this. And I went back my junior year and trained harder than ever, even though I was still injured from my shoulder injury. And I fought really hard. And I remember the summer before my senior year, I actually trained every day, getting myself in the best condition possible. And I had a couple setbacks. I dislocated my shoulder one time, but I still was firm and determined that I was going to be a state champion. And then the day before our first wrestling meet of my senior year, this was the year that I was really supposed to shine, I suffered what was the most agonizing day of my entire life. A fellow wrestler, while we were practicing, he hit his head on the side of my knee, and I don't want to get into too much graphic detail here, but basically dislocated my knee. And it was excruciatingly painful at the time, and I remember it took almost an hour for the ambulance to get me into the hospital and to get to the point where they could even put my knee back in place. And so I made it to the hospital through a lot of struggle, and I remember seeing my dad walking in the door. And when you're that age and you've gone through something really traumatic like I did, I sort of looked at him, like, give me some comfort here, help me out. And I remember the first thing he said to me is he walked over and took one look at my knee and said, "Oh God, Josh, that's gross." Like, so much for comforting me, Dad, right? That's what I wanted to say to him. But anyways, they were able to put my knee back in its place, and I remember sitting there after the whole ordeal was done and just letting my guard down, and just tears streamed down my face. I was relieved because it was such a painful experience, but I was just so frustrated because I had trained so hard. I trained for months getting ready for this moment, and this was the year, like I said, when I was supposed to shine. The important thing though is that when I was sitting on that hospital bed, I also discovered that I had a deeper sense of relief, and it went beyond just the physical pain that I was feeling. That I actually realized that I was really glad that I wasn't going to have to go back to wrestle for those next couple months. And I didn't really know where this feeling came from, but I asked myself, what should I do now? I keep getting hurt. I'm getting nowhere with this wrestling thing. What should I do? And immediately I thought, no, don't quit. You can never quit. There's that conditioning you get as a young high school male that quitting is for losers no matter the situation. And so I decided I didn't want to be one of those guys who quit on my team and quit on myself, and I just soldiered on and I toughed it out through the end of my senior year. But my heart really wasn't